Hello, everyone. Welcome to our virtual discussion series that's hosted by the Chaldean Cultural Center in association with the University of Michigan Detroit Center, Unique Voices in Films, and CMN TV. And today our guest is Bashar Hanna in Australia. Welcome, Bashar.
Hello, Rian. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. We're so happy to have you. And our timing is a little bit different today than when we have it because it's early morning by you right now in Australia.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna read a little bit of Bashar's bio. He is the founder of several art-based therapy groups. He's a music teacher, writer, and columnist. In 2018, Bashar was awarded the Community Fellowship of Western Sydney University for his achievements in the community arts sector. But Bashar has another additional specialty that's associated with me as his family. So he is the father of my great nieces and nephew. Yes, I'm not that old, but they are my great nieces and nephews. And so he has a very special place in our hearts. So welcome again. And we are gonna find out a little bit about your background, like where you were born in Iraq.
Yeah, I was born in Baghdad, and I grew up there, and I finished my bachelor degree in building and construction engineering in 1992, and then I finished my master's in 1995, and then I had to leave Iraq in 1996.
And what did you study in Iraq?
See, my background is engineering. I have bachelor degree in civil engineering and master's in construction management.
Okay, so then it's more interesting to find out, how did you end up getting into the arts? Was it from Iraq that you had that kind of interest, or did it develop over time?
This is a good question because since my early childhood, I loved arts and I was so into music. And I really wanted to become a musician. I didn't want to become an engineer or anything else. But you know, the trends in Iraq, if you don't become an engineer or a doctor, then you're sort of a failure. Yeah. And also, the appreciation for arts wasn't that acknowledged back then. And when my father told me, look, I'm not against you playing music or practicing your hobby, but please don't make it as a breadwinning thing. You know, just try to be a professional doing something else and do it on the side. And I did follow this advice, to be honest.
Yes, and from your resume and your bio, I mean, it's really incredible the amount of work that you've been able to accomplish in both sectors. So that's wonderful. So when did you immigrate to Australia, and what has your life been like as an Iraqi Australian?
You see, I had to leave Iraq because there was some sad stories happening there, and I left in 1996, but I ended up coming to Australia in 1998. And the situation was not easy at all because, you know, as a new migrant, I couldn't recognize my qualifications easily. And after I did, it wasn't an easy process for me to get a job because they look for local experience and all these things. So I had to change my career many times. I had to really go through difficult times, meltdowns and everything. But at the end, I remember it was in 2000 when I just decided, look, this is a new life. I have to start from zero. I have to start from scratch. So yeah, I ended up going and studying something totally different. And I worked in the business sector for a while and then went back to uni and did adult education and then Masters of Social Science. And I worked for the settlement program. And I was exposed to refugee lives and the struggle they face, you know, especially with the social exclusion and language barriers and cultural clashes and all these things. The arts was always, in the back of my mind. And then when I did my master's in social science, the focus for me was on how to utilize arts for social change. Because through my experience in the church, when I used to lead the choir, I used to notice how engaging the music is. Like, it gets people attention, it makes them comfortable. It makes them really in tune with you when you want to pass on a message. They listen to the hymn, they listen to the notes. They're more focused on the rhythm, and And I applied this actually. I tried to apply it by formulating choirs that consist of refugee people. Tell them, look, it doesn't matter. You can come and sing with you using your own language. You don't have to sing in English for the time being. And let's consider this is your home again. And, I'm trying to provide safe environment for them. And then when I used to take them to functions or some festivals, and when people, love them and love the performance, they feel they're accepted, they belong to the country. And that's when this spark started. Ended up me establishing the Arts and Community Development Center in 2014. And it's really created a positive social change in southwestern Sydney, where I am at the moment.
Yeah, I've been following your work for many years, and I see it through the images and through I see the people enjoying the process. And I never really knew the depth and the story behind it on the healing work that's associated with it. Um, and how have you been able to manage, doing this between your business, the education, and simultaneously and deeply being involved in the arts the way you have? Because it seems like a full-time job.
It is indeed. As you probably know, the community work is not really financially rewarding. So, and I have a family, and I had to maintain, my professional life. I work for the Department of Education, and also establish this because it's psychologically rewarding for me when I see the change in the social life of the people where I live. So it's about time management. I admit it's not an easy thing, to do, to have a full-time job, plus also have some sort of community involvement on a full-time basis. But it makes me happy. Probably it is my own therapy when I see happiness and smiles on people's faces, and it's so rewarding.
You know, I think it's really wonderful and so impressive what you do. I have a teacher who is, we were once talking about healing and trauma associated with people that come from the Middle East, particularly minorities. And she said, what is something that you would provide for the community or for the people that you feel would be healing? And I said, well, I was giving her all these different ideas, and she said, no, they don't need this, they don't need that. And then she said, what they need is to really have fun. They need the arts, and they need like a festival, and they need, and that part didn't dawn on me because we come from like a more serious type of background. And so I hadn't realized until when she was saying that even though I've done a lot of healing through writing, but I hadn't imagined that like a festival and music and all these things, that because what she was saying is this is what they need, given what they have gone through, that they need that kind of joy, and this is what you're helping provide them with. From your experience and the work that you've done, so how has this helped refugees? You say that you help families and from refugee backgrounds who have suffered the trauma of war in their healing process. How does that happen, and what are the results that you have seen, like short-term and long-term results that you've seen so far?
See, the beauty of using arts as a therapeutic tool or as a way of healing is that when you get engaged in an activity and when you really love doing it, it distracts your thoughts. It gives your brain a break from the traffic of thoughts that hits your mind, the memories. See, post-traumatic stress disorder is something really horrible. People cannot forget easily what happened to them, especially when there was massive loss in their life, grief, and torturing. This trauma will live with them. It just needs a little trigger to come back. But during art activities, you get them really engaged in what they do. So the brain will have a break, will relax. That little break can refresh physically, psychologically, mentally, refresh the person. Plus, when you are in loving environments, you can't go wrong with the music and arts. They are wonderful. They bond people together. They always create a nice vibe around you. So for me, I applied this on myself before starting to promote it to the community. since my early childhood, with all the difficulties I faced in Iraq or during the diaspora, especially the transitioning stage between Iraq and Australia, my guitar was my friend. Every time that I used to feel upset or sad, I just go to my guitar. Always wait for me at the same place, you know, never change. And I
So
can
you can
express.
count on your guitar. Probably.
It's always with me. It's even next to me here. I can't live without it. Yeah.
And I'm curious about the community that's in Australia. Has it, I'm imagining that it has grown over time since you immigrated in the, what was it, in 1998 you immigrated there? So how has it developed and grown, and what kind of Iraqis live there? You know, there's various backgrounds, Chaldeans, Syriacs, Assyrians, and others as well, like the Arab and the Muslim communities. Has it grown over the years?
Yeah, I arrived to Australia in 1998, but of course I was sort of monitoring the, you know, the waves of people arriving, and also I was digging in the past, and I came to know that Assyrians were the first settlers. I mean, in terms of the Iraqi communities who came to Australia, and if we count the numbers, and then Chaldean after, the Syriac people after. And then there was the Mindayans as well. We have a very large community of the Mindayan community here in Sydney. And the Muslim community always increased, especially after 2003. So now there is like a little sample of Iraq in here where I live. Has the composition of this exactly similar composition of the Iraqi community where we used to live in harmony before all the wars and all the problems that happened and forced us to leave Iraq.
That's beautiful. We have something similar in Michigan, where we are living in cities that are nicknamed Little Baghdad, where we have different people from different backgrounds as Iraqis just living in harmony, and other communities as well. But this is the whole beauty of it. But what would you say has been your biggest challenge in the career of the arts sector, especially as it pertains to you being of Middle Eastern background?
See, the biggest challenge usually when you want to promote something in our community it's not has lost trust in things, but went through a lot. So for you to introduce something or try to attract them to join you, and because you are 100% sure that what you are doing is good for them, it's for their benefit, you need an example. You can't just open up a business here and say, look, I'm selling a new way, a therapeutic way that can heal you from your trauma. Based on what? So what happened is, see, my experience at the church setting from 2004 and 2014, that helped a lot, because the choir was actually the basis of what we have done. Our choir attracted youth and people from different generation, you know, and the number reached more than 50 in some stage. So when we started now to move to community development, we already had the network that people can talk about you, can talk about what you were doing and how music united them and got them together. My choir had Assyrians, has Chaldeans, has Syriacs, and even some Coptic people joined. People from Lebanon joined because
it's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, music, you know, I like what you're saying right now. So you found a way through the church, which already people have that kind of trust towards it, to bring forth what you were trying to do. So sometimes it's finding a certain foundation that's already established and that already people have a connection to.
Absolutely. And then we face the issue of how can we distinguish the difference between, this is the community development initiative, and we want not to stay away from the religion, but we want to distinguish the difference. So we created another group. So the Choir of Love, which was in operation from 2004 to 2014, stayed there, but we just, like a new baby, you know, was given birth, which is the Peacemakers Ensemble. The Peacemakers Ensemble opened the doors for people from different faiths, and we try to sing about peace, love, humanity, to promote the values, the universal values that we should all follow to maintain living in harmonious environment. And it worked as well.
Bashar, I love the titles that you have for your groups. So, like you said, the Choir of Love, the Peacemakers Group, the Mesopotamian Ensemble, Arabica Quartet,
The
and the
Arabic Choir.
Timberland Global Band. They're all, I mean, just the names in itself say a lot about what they represent. You know, I was one time watching this documentary where they were interviewing tribal people who never have, they don't have any like TVs or electricity or anything like that, and they had them they had them see through a TV different things, including like different things about the Western culture, including like where the elderly live. They were very, the tribal people were very surprised about that, and just actually disturbed that the elderly end up like moving to a different place, sometimes not living with their families. And they showed all these different things. The one thing that they showed that the tribes actually appreciated was a video of Michael Jackson singing. And the tribes, you know, they looked at that and they felt like, like they said, well, they can feel something towards that. And then I think they also showed an opera. And that was another thing that they connected to. From all of the whole thing, the videos that they showed them, different clips about the Western society, none of them impressed them, and actually it bothered them to a certain degree, except the music. They connected to Michael Jackson and an opera singer. And these are tribesmen that don't, you know, get involved in that way, but of course they have their own music. And that was also a learning experience for me when I was seeing that. And it's like, yeah, if you think about it, I know when I traveled different countries over time, one thing that when you're someplace and you're listening to any music from any background, you know, I never would understand the lyrics, but it didn't matter. I was able, it transcends religion, ethnicity, nationality. It just transcends everything. And then you can enjoy it just like anybody else that's sitting around you, no matter who they are. So it is a very powerful tool, both in regards just for the pleasure of it and the enjoyment, but also as a therapeutic tool. And I'm so glad that you're using that for the Middle Eastern, the Iraqi communities.
Absolutely. As you said, music is universal language. The beauty in music is you deposit emotions in everything that you create. Like the compositions and the pieces that we hear, they all have stories. And if we dig in the meaning of them, they're really powerful. And you know what? Energy is a transferable. Like for us also, these groups, like they all had, like all these groups have stories, like the Choir of Love, because it was more spiritual and religious. So if we are singing, you know, in that setting, if there is a creator, it will be almighty and unconditional love. That's why we named it the Choir of Love. The Peacemakers Ensemble, if we want to express that love, we should love everybody. So we open to all other faiths, all other religions, because this is the way. It's mutual respect is the basis of our humanity. So we're singing for humanity and some universal values. And then there was the Mesopotamian ensemble is more professional in terms of the music, because it attracts musicians who they are already capable, like they're really on a sort of higher level of their performances, but they can find an avenue in Australia or a platform to perform. So we created that one also for them, just to be known, and they might take off after. They might be, getting involved in different bands for more professional endeavors. The Arabica Quartet is we opened not to Iraqis only. It's more like about singing the folk, the Arabic and the Middle Eastern folk, and that's professional as well. And the global band is when we're really promoting the unity. And I remember once we had a performance and we were singing in 7 languages. You can't imagine, people were happy to see one band singing in 7 languages, has people from all around the globe just united through music. It's so powerful, believe me.
It's powerful, and I like the fact that you've addressed with the Mesopotamian ensemble the fact that there are like kind of more the professional types of musicians that kind of don't find themselves, especially when they leave their birth countries and trying to find a home for their art in a Western country. And earlier, when you were talking about you having all these degrees and then going and then finding like you kind of, you know, it doesn't really fit in to the place that you want to. I think people have no idea how difficult it is. As in our museum, we have a number of stories where in the Chaldean Museum where we share how we have physicians, surgeons, lawyers, pharmacists who came who were very, very successful. And they come here, and because of the language barrier and because of other barriers, many, many barriers, then they really have to start from scratch. And yet they have found ways and, you know, to excel. And this is the successful immigrant story where you find yourself in a place where even though you're starting from zero, but you kind of over time collect everything that you've learned and you try to seize the opportunities that are available to you. And when I know when we first came, and I don't know about yourself, but when we first came, it was mostly Americans that were, you know, non-Chaldeans or non-Iraqi, non-Middle Easterners who were providing these kind of services for us. So time has developed, and as generations grow, we are able to kind of create that kind of atmosphere for others. So, you know, so this is a plus for people that are coming new, and I hope that people take advantage of these opportunities. Because do you find that there's sometimes resistance, or not necessarily? Is there any resistance, or do you feel like sometimes people are maybe tired from their work day to participate in certain in the arts?
See, of course, there is the cultural clashes, you know, and arts, as I mentioned before, back in our countries, it didn't get enough attention, and it was utilized only, like, for example, to promote war aspects and stuff like that, or in the political context. But in reality, it's more than that. So for some people who just arrive we have to be realistic. At the beginning, they just care about their own settlement. They need shelter, they need food. They can't, they do not have the time or even the ability to let themselves enjoying an aspect of like something different like the arts. But what we do, this is why we always try to let them know we are not entertainers in terms of we're going to perform in parties and stuff. No, this initiative is to get you together in a safe place. The music or the arts are only a therapeutic tool for you to calm down and relax. And then later, by you coming, we will be able to provide you with a platform to go and network with others. This will help you in your settlement. When you meet others who are settled before you, they will tell you what they have done. Especially, I always get people to come and just talk about their successful stories because they will help others. And this connectivity that we create amongst the community, the emerging community, and let's say the established community, will accelerate the process of resettlement. So everybody knows now, Arts and Community Development Center is not about just using the arts for fun. No, it's sort of an initiative that help people to settle. And because they know that we have sort of engagement with government agencies and non-government agencies, now the concept is really changed. So yes, we are still attracting people. And you know, when you promote your service, only the people who can understand your service come to see you. The others, we can't reach out. We don't know why they're not coming. But you cannot attract everybody. If you attract a small sample of the community, and there will be the word of mouth that you want to go and spread around, I think this by itself is as if you just planting the seed.
Oh yes, and you just by existing, you're being available for that one person that needs it the most, and sometimes that's a reward in itself. So given how active you are in this field, what are your future goals? Something that you would really like to see, maybe in 5 years or so?
Well, with the challenging situation now, with the uncertainty associated with COVID and pandemics, and to be honest, I do not have very long-term goals at the moment. We're taking it day by day, because life is changing and the dynamics of our life is really different than before. You can see everything is accelerating, everything is able to be changed. But I can see my hopes for the future is for humanity to realize that life is not only about the typical things or the ordinary things that we do. Like we get born, we have to finish our study, we have to get married, we have to have kids. There's no such a thing that we have to do all these things. It's a choice. It's a choice that we make on how to live this journey. Because no matter how long it is, it's going to be ending one day. I am very optimistic about things, and I'm not trying to throw negative thoughts or ideas, but I want to attract people attention to the beauty of this life. And we all going to miss out a lot if we don't think about loving each other, have mutual respect to each other, live in harmony, try to focus on the beauty of nature, stop interfering with the nature, try to be the light for others. And if you help someone in need, you can't imagine how rewarding is this. That positive energy that you will get can get your soul to go to a different level. You will start seeing things that you have never seen. So I hope in the future that many people will think in that direction, or maybe more depth in that, so they can help me and enlighten me to have better life for us and for the other generations after us.
That was so touching. I think that you just answered my last question about what is the message that you carry. I think right now you spoke so much from the heart and really said something that, you know, we envision. And you're right, given COVID, I know that I saw on your Facebook posts today that, you know, Australia is going through another short-term lockdown. And it does make you feel like it's unpredictable. And everything that you just said becomes even more important. The value of what you just said doubles, triples, quadruples because of what we're going through right now, the whole world.
Absolutely. That's why it's nice to plan. It's nice to have some plans for the future, but let's be flexible and accept that there might be changes, sometimes massive changes in our plans because life is changing. But let's keep the good values and try to nurture them because they're the only hope for humanity to continue in a peaceful way.
Thank you, Bashar. I've so enjoyed interviewing you. Just everything that you do is really deep and meaningful and such of service to people. And I'm sure that anybody that's worked with you really appreciates it. Thank you. And I'm going to be waiting for you to bring the kids to the United States sometime soon. Okay. We'll do another interview in person at the Chaldean Museum.
I would love for my children to meet their extended family members in US or all around the world. And I am so impressed with what you do also, Wiam. And likewise, it was really a privilege to be with you in this program. And I was waiting for this time, you know, to happen one day in my life so I can have a chat with you. But I never imagined it will be in public.
Well, you know what? That's the best way because now everybody ended up benefiting from your wisdom. Thank you so much, Bashar. Thank you.
Thank you indeed. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.